In the first hiring of the coaching carousel for the NFL, the Washington Redskins went out and got Ron Rivera, who was formerly with the Carolina Panthers. I love this move. I really fell in love with Ron Rivera this past season on All or Nothing, Amazon's behind the scenes show. You just look at that, and Ron Rivera showed tremendous leadership. He had that locker room. Things just didn't work out. He probably deserved to keep coaching, but David Tepper, the Panthers owner, kind of wanted to, with them not making the playoffs and that, wanted his stamp on this team and wanted to go in a different direction. So, it's understandable in that. So I thought the Redskins did a great job in getting Rivera. When I first heard that they were going to interview him, I said, hey, this would be a home run hire for them as long as he's able to kind of run the show. And one of the big dominoes that fell in this Ron Rivera hiring was that general manager Bruce Allen was let go. I know there was a lot of people around the Redskins that talked about how Bruce Allen was kind of a deterrent and not very good at his job, and he had kind of been there through a few coaching staffs and just didn't have a good reputation. And so I thought that was a good sign. You get Ron Rivera in, they get to go out and find a GM to kind of marry up with him, and I think that could lead to a lot of success. Ron Rivera is going to bring a strong leadership, firm type of leader, and I think that's going to be very well. It's going to be great for what the Redskins need. Now, here's the thing, though. They still have an ownership issue. And Daniel Snyder is still there. He's still going to meddle. He's still going to do that. But we're hoping that now that if Ron Rivera's there, he probably had some assurances that, hey, let me do things my way. You're hoping that Daniel Snyder, after not having a lot of success, will fully trust Rivera and kind of stay out of things. And hopefully getting a general manager that's kind of tied with Rivera, there's maybe a 2-on-1 that, if Daniel Snyder wants to meddle, Ron Rivera, and that general manager can maybe talk him out of certain things. So I'm optimistic about it. I'm not fully like, oh my gosh, Daniel Snyder has finally given up control, because we all know that's probably not true. But I think these are making steps in the right direction. It'll be curious to see how it does play out, who they do hire as their general manager moving forward. Now, there was also another staff hire, Jack Del Rio, the past Raiders coach, former Broncos defensive coordinator, former Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. He is being brought in as the defensive coordinator for Ron Rivera. Now, it'll be curious to see what the Redskins do with their defense. And I'm going to put out another video later on talking about how their scheme changed and that could affect the NFL draft. But if we're looking at it just scheme related now, Ron Rivera is primarily a 4-3 defensive coordinator. He was with the Bears. They ran the 4-3. He went to the Chargers and was the defensive coordinator in their 3-4. But when he went out to Carolina, they were a 4-3 based team before moving to a 3-4 this past year. Now, Jack Del Rio's also been more of a 4-3 based defense coordinator himself. Here's the difference, though. When Del Rio was with the Raiders, when he was with the Broncos, they ran more of a 4-3 under scheme, if you think kind of like what the Seahawks do. Where in essence, yes, it's a 4-3, but it's kind of run like a 3-4. You have your weak side defensive end is almost like a 3-4 outside linebacker. You have a 3 technique. You have a 1 technique. Your 5 technique is more like your traditional 3-4 defensive end. So I think the transition, I think that's the way that they're going to go. Ron Rivera ran a 3-4 defense last year with the Panthers. It was more of that one gap, Wade Phillips type of 3-4. But I think that they're going to kind of go more to that 4-3 under. And I think that really suits this team well. You look, Daron Payne should be able to, he's a scheme transcendent guy. I think he'd be a tremendous nose tackle in this scheme. Control the center, control that A gap. Jonathan Allen, I think, would be tremendous as a 5 technique defensive end. Matt Ioannidis could play that under defensive tackle, that 3 technique defensive tackle, whereas Montez Sweat is going to be that, at this point, that Leo, that weak side linebacker. Now they do have the number 2 overall pick, so that probably means they're going to get Chase Young. So they probably slide Chase Young into the weak side. Montez Sweet maybe goes over that strong side defensive end. Maybe you move Jonathan Allen inside to that 3 technique defensive tackle. Regardless, all of that means is they have options, and they have guys that can play in multiple positions, and I think this is going to make what's already a strong defensive line even better. And I think other guys slot into other roles at linebacker. So I don't think you're going to see a big drop-off, and I think this defense might be better suited for this new change. Now, offensively is going to be important because Ron Rivera is a defensive-minded head coach. He's got to get a good offensive mind because you're only going to be so good as your quarterback. And Dwayne Haskins was drafted last year. He started. He had an up-and-down year playing. So they need to bring somebody in. They need a strong offensive coordinator to help in that development. The rumor right now is they still like Kevin O'Connell. Was their quarterback's coach and he kind of took over that offensive coordinator type role when Gruden got fired. Now, Haskins started to see a lot more success towards the end of the year, and a lot of that was him and O'Connell working together. So if Kevin O'Connell's kept as their offensive coordinator, I think that's going to suit Dwayne Haskins, and they're hoping that relationship continues as he continues to develop. So I love this hire of Ron Rivera. I really like the Jack Del Rio. I think he gets maybe a little bit bad rap, but I think he's shown that he can have a lot of success. So I like what the Redskins are doing here.